The most she played was 3 minutes and 10 seconds at one time. That is sabotage. It's malpractice. There was no point in her even playing today.
Are we really doing this? Yes, again. I want every single person watching this video to take a deep breath, sit down, and process what we all just witnessed. The Indiana Fever got absolutely demolished by the Los Angeles Sparks by 14 points in a game that should have never, ever looked like this. But let me be entirely clear with you. The official narrative does not even begin to tell the real story. While mainstream media is busy spinning this as a competitive loss during a back-to-back stretch, the brutal truth is that Stephanie White just executed the most baffling, deliberate sabotage of Caitlin Clark's season to date. Clark played 15 total minutes. 15. The longest single stretch he was allowed on the floor was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And between every single one of those microscopic spurts, she was pulled off the court and sent to ride a stationary bike on the sideline like a benchwarmer in garbage time. That is not load management. That is not a minutes restriction. That is calculated, systematic destruction of a rhythm player's ability to contribute. Welcome back. This is channel name, and today we are ripping the doors off the most disgraceful coaching malpractice we have seen all season, documenting exactly how the Indiana Fever front office is burning Caitlin Clark's prime to the ground, and exposing the conversation that every single person in the establishment refuses to let you have.
Man, this organization is malpractice. I'm sick of this shit. I'm over it. Pardon the language. I'm done. I'm done. Screw.
Before I walk you through the evidence that proves this was intentional sabotage, I need you to understand the context that everyone on TV is conveniently skipping. Caitlin Clark is a rhythm player. That is not my opinion. That is not a hot take. That is a mathematical fact proven by every single game she has played at the professional level. When she plays 25+ minutes with consistent rotations, her efficiency skyrockets. When she is jerked in and out of the game in 2-minute intervals, she cannot establish any offensive flow, her timing on threes evaporates, and her decision-making suffers because she is never allowed to read the defense across multiple possessions. Stephanie White knows this. The coaching staff knows this. The front office knows this. And they did it anyway. That is the part that should terrify every single Fever fan watching this video right now. And here is the detail nobody is talking about. Aliyah Boston did not play. She was held out entirely. The Fever's second-best player, the anchor of their frontcourt, the pick-and-roll partner that makes Caitlin's offense functional, was sitting on the bench in street clothes while Stephanie White trotted out a rotation featuring Monique Billings for extended minutes, Maisha Hines-Allen with 12 minutes of absolute zeros across the stat sheet, and Raven Johnson going 1 for 9 from the floor. 1 for 9. And Kelsey Mitchell, who finished with 29 points, was shooting 30% in the first half before she finally heated up in garbage time when the game was already decided. This was not a competitive effort. This was organizational arrogance masquerading as strategy.
Caitlin Clark, your brand, your reputation is being tainted by this organization, and you need to wake the hell up and see what's going on. You need to get the hell away from these people. You need to get away from here.
Let me walk you through exactly what happened, possession by possession, minute by minute, so you can see the sabotage for yourself. The Fever came out flat. Caitlin Clark played her first shift, got pulled after 2 minutes, sat on the bike for 15 minutes of game clock, came back in, played another 2-minute spurt, got yanked again. This cycle repeated for the entire first half. By halftime, she had logged maybe 7 or 8 minutes total. And her shooting line was already cooked because she never got enough consecutive possessions to establish any kind of rhythm from beyond the arc. She finished 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, and I am not blaming her for those numbers. I am blaming the head coach who designed a rotation that guaranteed she would struggle. Meanwhile, the Sparks were lighting the Fever up on the other end. Rickea Jackson, who has been inconsistent all season, looked like Jason Tatum out there. 9 of 15 shooting, 22 points, 2 of 3 from 3. She absolutely torched Indiana's defense because they had no rim protection, no defensive anchor, and no cohesive scheme. Derica Hamby put up 21 points and 9 rebounds. Nneka Ogwumike dropped 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Ray Burrell added 22 points and 4 assists. Ariel Atkins finally looked like a competent basketball player with 12 points. Azura Stevens contributed 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. The Sparks had 5 players in double figures. 5. And the Fever's defensive game plan was non-existent because Stephanie White was too busy playing rotation roulette with her best offensive weapon. And here is the possession that summarizes the entire game. Late in the third quarter, the Fever had 3 consecutive missed layups. 3. Kelsey Mitchell smoked a wide-open layup at the rim. Monique Billings missed the putback. Lexi Hall, standing 4 feet away from the basket, missed the second putback. 3 straight bunnies all missed, all in the span of 10 seconds. That is not bad luck. That is a team that has no offensive structure, no confidence, and no coaching adjustments being made in real time. Now, I have been covering this team for weeks, and I told you in my last 3 videos that Stephanie White's rotation decisions were going to cost the Fever games. I told you that playing Caitlin Clark in these short spurts was going to destroy her efficiency. I told you that sitting Aliyah Boston without a legitimate replacement plan was going to expose their lack of depth, and every single one of those predictions came true last night. The receipts are in the comments of my last video. Go check them.
The most she played was 3 minutes and 10 seconds at one time. That is sabotage. It's malpractice. There was no point in her even playing today.
But you do not have to take my word for it. Let me show you exactly what was said after the game, because this is where the cover-up starts to unravel. Watch this.
Man, this organization is malpractice. I'm sick of this shit. I'm over it. Pardon the language. I'm done. I'm done. Screw.
She said it on camera with reporters in the room. The most she played was 3 minutes and 10 seconds at one time. That is sabotage. It's malpractice. There was no point in her even playing today if this is the plan. Let me say that back to you in case you missed it. The source is calling out the coaching staff directly on the record for implementing a rotation that had no competitive purpose. If you cannot play your franchise player for more than 3 consecutive minutes, why is she even dressed? Why is she even in the building? This is not about rest. This is not about injury prevention. This is about a head coach who either does not understand how to maximize her best player or worse is actively choosing not to. And here's the part that should make every single Fever fan furious. Kelsey Mitchell never gets benched after a turnover. Never, ever, 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 ever. She can throw the ball into the third row and she stays on the floor. But Caitlin Clark commits one turnover in the fourth quarter and she is immediately yanked and sent back to the bike. That is not accountability. That is selective enforcement. That is a double standard being applied to the franchise player, and it is being done in front of a national audience. I made a video 2 days ago breaking down Stephanie White's rotation philosophy, and I said that if she continued down this path, the Fever were going to lose winnable games because of coaching malpractice. That video is still up. Go watch it. The footage is there. The predictions are there, and they all came true.
Caitlin Clark, your brand, your reputation is being tainted by this organization, and you need to wake the hell up and see what's going on. You need to get the hell away from these people. You need to get away from here.
Now let me escalate this for you because this is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern of behavior that has been building for weeks. Let me walk you through the tactical failure first, then the pattern, then the enablers, and finally the cost to Caitlin Clark's career. Tactical failure. Stephanie White's game plan was to play Caitlin Clark in 2-minute spurts, pull her off the floor, make her ride a stationary bike for 15 minutes, then reinsert her cold into a game that had already moved on without her. That is not coaching. That is sabotage. You cannot ask a shooter to stay warm when you are treating her like a relief pitcher. You cannot ask a playmaker to run an offense when she does not have enough consecutive possessions to read the defense. And you cannot ask a rhythm player to perform when you are destroying her rhythm by design. This was not a minutes restriction. This was a deliberate decision to minimize Caitlin's impact on the game, and it worked. She finished with 9 points and 3 assists. Her counting stats are about to tumble because of decisions like this, and when the media starts running stories about her efficiency decline, they are going to blame her instead of the coaching staff that is setting her up to fail. Pattern of behavior. This is not the first time Stephanie White has done this. 3 games ago, Caitlin played limited minutes in a loss where the rotation made no sense. 2 weeks ago, she was pulled in the fourth quarter of a close game for no tactical reason. Last month, she was benched after a single defensive mistake while other players were allowed to make 3 or 4 mistakes without consequence. 3 games, 3 identical mistakes, 3 times the protagonist paid the price. And every single time, the media covers for the coaching staff by saying it is about load management or player development or some other polite euphemism that does not match the reality of what we are watching on the floor. Enabler complicity. And where is the front office in all of this? Where is the general manager? Where is the team president? Where is ownership? They are sitting in silence while their head coach runs the most baffling rotation in the league. They are allowing Stephanie White to experiment with lineups that have no statistical support, no tactical logic, and no chance of winning games. And the media is enabling this by refusing to ask the hard questions in post-game press conferences. Nobody is asking Stephanie White why Caitlin played 3-minute spurts. Nobody is asking why Aliyah Boston was held out when she was healthy enough to play. Nobody is asking why Kelsey Mitchell gets a longer leash than the franchise player, and every single one of them stayed silent. Receipts coming, cost to the protagonist. Let me be entirely clear about what is at stake here. Caitlin Clark is in her second professional season. This is supposed to be the year where she establishes herself as one of the best guards in the league. This is supposed to be the year where she builds chemistry with Aliyah Boston and turns the Fever into a playoff contender. Instead, her efficiency is declining because of coaching decisions. Her counting stats are dropping because of rotation management. Her confidence is being eroded because she is being treated like a role player instead of a franchise cornerstone. And when this season ends and the front office starts pointing fingers, they are going to blame her for not delivering instead of taking accountability for the organizational malpractice that sabotaged her from day one. That is what Caitlin Clark's prime is being burned for. And here is the receipt nobody on TV will play for you because of what it proves about who is actually making decisions in this organization. Watch this. This organization is malpractice. I'm sick of this. I'm over it. I'm done. That is the reaction from someone who has been watching this unfold for weeks and has finally reached the breaking point, and I am right there with them. My apology, everyone. I just get so passionate when I am seeing a generational talent being wasted by an organization that does not have the competence to build around her. This irks my nerves. This is the kind of decision-making that ruins careers, that wastes primes, that turns franchises into punchlines. And the Fever are sprinting toward that outcome at full speed. Let me show you one more clip, because this is where the frustration boils over into something bigger. This is where the demand for change becomes unavoidable. Caitlin Clark, your brand, your reputation is being tainted by this organization, and you need to wake the hell up and see what's going on. You need to get the hell away from these people. You need to demand a trade. Where the hell is your agent? Can you do something for a change? That is not hyperbole. That is not overreaction. That is a rational assessment of what is happening in real time. Caitlin Clark is being sabotaged by the Indiana Fever. And if she does not demand a change, this is going to define the next 5 years of her career. So let me lay out my verdict with 5 stake predictions, because I want every single person watching this video to come back and check these receipts when they come true. Prediction 1, Stephanie White's job security. If Stephanie White is still the head coach of the Indiana Fever by the end of this season, I want every single person to come back and roast me in the comments. But I do not think she makes it. I think the front office is going to use the offseason to quietly move on from her, bring in a new voice, and try to salvage what is left of this roster. Save this clip. Prediction 2, Caitlin Clark's next move. On the day the offseason begins, we are going to see Caitlin Clark's camp start floating trade requests through back channels. It is not going to be public at first. It is going to be quiet, professional, strategic. But by the time the next season starts, she's going to be wearing a different jersey. Mark this video. Prediction 3, front office consequence. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever front office is going to scapegoat the coaching staff and pretend that they had no idea this was happening. They are going to act shocked that the rotation was a disaster. They are going to claim they gave Stephanie White every resource she needed, and the media is going to let them get away with it. Watch the next 2 weeks. Prediction 4, news cycle direction. The story is going to break wide open when a major outlet runs the article they are already sitting on about dysfunction inside the Fever organization. It is coming. The interviews have already been conducted. The sources have already gone on the record. And when that article drops, everything I just said in this video is going to be validated. Prediction 5, franchise outcome. And the season ends with the Indiana Fever missing the playoffs. Caitlin Clark demanding a trade and Stephanie White being replaced by a coach who actually understands how to build around a franchise player. That is the trajectory we are on right now. Save this timestamp. Come back in 3 months. Tell me I was wrong. And here's the closing emotional beat that nobody on TV is willing to say out loud. Caitlin Clark is out there, right now, fighting through the most disrespectful coaching decisions of her career. Still trying to lead a team that does not deserve her. Still trying to prove that she belongs in this league. Still trying to carry an organization that is actively working against her. That is what greatness looks like when it is being sabotaged. That is what a franchise player does when the franchise does not have the backbone to protect her. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Caitlin Clark being sabotaged by the Indiana Fever coaching staff, or is this just normal rotation management that every player deals with? Pick a side, defend it, and while you are down there, save this comment. Stephanie White will not be the head coach of the Indiana Fever by the start of next season. If I am right by opening day, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me. Tag the friend who keeps telling you that Caitlin Clark is overrated and that the Fever are doing everything right. Make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow we are going to break down the front office decisions that led to this disaster, the trades they should have made but did not, and the roster construction mistakes that are going to haunt this franchise for years. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is channel name. We will see you in the next video.